The Matt Mosley Show on Rogue Media Network. And Scotty Swingler with me as always. And we're a little bit different today. It may be, Scotty, it may be less annoying because I don't have my 360 camera, tracking my every move. But Scotty and Scotty, there'll come a time, hopefully sooner rather than later, where us starting a few minutes late, will freak everybody out, right? And there'll be like a lot of gnashing of teeth, and our people will be demanding answers. I don't think we're there yet, so I think that's good. I think that's actually a good thing. But Scotty and I, right as we were coming on today, major Wi-Fi issues at my place, at my studio. So I'll double check. I'd like to think, Scotty, I'd like to say, well, I'll troubleshoot and fix that, but that's not going to happen. So who knows? We may have to bring in backup, but we are through various ways to get a show done, and excited about that. And we have David Ubben is going to be joining us from The Athletic, one of their senior writers. He and I used to do TV together, and so that'll be fun. That's going to happen at around 2:00, and then we're going to get you ready for Baylor and Samford, and then David and I will have a lot of things to cover. In fact, a big story he just wrote on a trade that took place in college football that ended up really bad for one of the people involved, and that would be the former Tennessee quarterback, Nico Iamaleava. And Iamaleava. I said, how many times did we practice that earlier, Scotty? I was really giving that a good run. Anyway, we'll get that right, perhaps. And the player that came over to Tennessee from UCLA, he's been given new life. Great quarterbacks, coach, great. And I say that talking about their head coach, Josh Heupel, who's a former quarterback at Oklahoma. But like everything's worked out beautifully for him. And now Tennessee gets ready to host Georgia in one of the great games of the weekend. So, man, we got a lot going on, and we've got a lot of excitement, and great to have Scotty on as always. But David Ubben from The Athletic, long time. We used to do TV together back in the day at Fox Sports Southwest, and we had a good time doing that. And so we'll have all of that to get into at 2:00. We'll have Campus Confidential coming up at about 1:35, and then this is a fun slate of games. Scotty, we've talked about it this weekend. We'll talk about some more of that in Campus Confidential, but we got conference games going on. We got weirdness. We got Arizona State hosting Texas State. And I saw yesterday Texas State's coach, G.J. Kinney, was talking about their quarterback, in his mind, being a lot like Tim Tebow, like having the sort of the leadership skills and some of the things that Tim Tebow brought to the table. We got the backyard brawl, Pitt and West Virginia getting together over on the CBS Sports Network. That's Saturday night at 8. I mean, is that advisable? Is that really what should be happening, Scotty, is let the Pittsburgh and West Virginia fans drink all day and then get them together, teams and fan bases that can't stand each other? Is that the best thing you could do? I think not. And we start to get some Big 12 games going, and I'm talking about Kansas State and Arizona, and then Colorado and the U of H get going. Those are, and boy, it drives me nuts that this conference puts games out in Eastern Standard Time. I mean, it's the conference, like Tech, Baylor, TCU, Houston. We're all like the home base of the conference. It's based in the Metroplex. It's out in Las Colinas, in Irving area. Like, why are you listing the start time's in Eastern Standard Time. Okay, your power base of the conference and the majority of your fandom is Central Standard Time. All right, just a little aside there that's bugging me a little bit. Last night, before I get to the Rangers, and Scotty, I've got some Ranger stuff I want to talk about because it is amazing what's going on with that team. And we're going to now start scoreboard watching, and we're watching what the Astros do this weekend. We're watching as the Mariners get it on with the Angels this weekend, as the Rangers have closed in behind the Mariners in the wild card race, and only 2.5 games out in the AL West. I mean, I still think that's a little bit tough, but it could absolutely happen. We'll talk more about that as the day unfolds. Last night, another opportunity to watch the NFL, the greatness that is the NFL, and Kirk Herbstreit, as if you don't get enough of him, there he is on our screens, and doing Amazon with Amazon Prime Network or Amazon Network with Al Michaels. And the Packers look dominant. I mean, Scotty, I think, maybe had the Packers of one of his picks to perhaps get to the Super Bowl, but he did that even before they acquired Micah Parsons. This fan base, Lambeau, the whole scene, they've fallen in love with him. A huge amount of those number one jerseys are flying off the shelves. They now have great young offense. Now, they did get major injury on their offense, and so they're going to have a receiver out for several weeks. But on the defensive end of things, and they have, can you imagine, like, I'm trying to think where that guy, was he a coach at, like, the Jets maybe before? But that Jeff Hafley is the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. And imagine you're sitting there with a pretty good defense already. You trade a good player to the Cowboys, Kenny Clark, for Micah, in addition to the first round picks, and you suddenly have a quarterback who is just blowing up, or a pass rusher, edge rusher, who's blowing up play after play after play. Like Jalen Daniels, other than like trash time, garbage time late in the game, he had nothing. They finally went down there and scored and made it 17-10. And what did the Packers do? Go right down the field, and they scored, and the game was basically over. I think the final score was like 28-17 or something. But bottom line, the game was over. And so it's wild. It's unreal that you could add a player of that caliber to what already looks like a good defense, and they already know how to use them. Guess what? You don't have to be a genius to line up a 245-pound dynamo who's the greatest pass rusher of his generation. And he's obviously all the stuff about the back injury and getting a second opinion. What a joke. What a joke about all of that. He's ready to go. Looks a little winded to me. Looks a little like he's going to have to get his conditioning going again. But he's just impossible to block and impossible to stop. And Scotty, as I was saying to you earlier today when we were talking with our exclusive pre-show meeting, I think, Scotty, that might be something we bring to the table, like something new that nobody else does. We should put our pre-show meeting, and we should put that out there. We should run that. The other thing I was thinking today is Pablo Torre continues to pour in just more and more news. And then you saw that thing with Mark Cuban. Like, you and I do need to launch investigations. Now, I was an investigative writer. I don't really want to go back to pouring in open record acts and coming and pouring through like thousands of documents. Like, that doesn't sound fun to me at all at this stage of my career. But that doesn't mean we can't launch our own Mosley Swingler investigations and sort of from time to time turn this live show into a packaged. Now, I think on those days, Scotty, we're going to have to, with investigations, there's not as much of a live component to it. On those shows, you and I are going to have to tape it, and then we're going to have to present it to our people. But I do think we're very capable of launching some investigations here on the Mosley Show.
Mosley Swingler investigative podcast. might be too good for the world to handle. My question is, it sounds to me as though you just committed to a Mosley Swingler investigation, but you said very clearly that work does not sound fun to you at this stage of your career. So you are committing me to all the extra investigative work.
No, no,
And
no.
if that's the case, then I'll just launch my own investigative podcast and maybe I'll be the next Pablo Torre. Maybe.
We'll okay.
I'm
We need
not
to do
nearly as
this.
charismatic as Pablo though. That dude is charming behind a microphone. I just have to say it. He's not just a good writer, good investigator. I love listening to the way he breaks this stuff down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange, like our sensibilities as people who consume news aren't used to doing it that way. Where you have like David Sampson, who by the there's a story about, he's on that metal art deal and he's on Pablo's show. Do you know who I'm talking about, Scotty? The
I
dark
think
haired
so.
guy that's
Yeah,
on
yeah,
there.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And so there's Katie comes on with him. So David Sampson and his father were like, he was a huge baseball executive. And he, at one point, was helping run the Marlins when they won that first World Series in 2003. And then they had a huge fire sale. But you just made me think of something. Speaking of investigations, it makes me laugh because David Sampson, who again comes across as a very fun, interesting guy, I think at one point was extremely hated guy. Um, David Sampson took part in like the sale of the expos, and there's a big documentary, like a 30 for 30, about what happened to the expos. And for people that have been around for a little while, Andre Dawson, Tim Raines, Gary Carter, like they that's where Mario came up. I mean, like you or Pedro Martinez, I should say. You have like unbelievable players that were in that organization, and then suddenly they moved it and it went away. And so this David Sampson tells the story of like he thought he was just going to be on of like a documentary about the expos, and he was happy to help. And they came to his house, and he said he did 9 hours, and afterwards he realized like that he was the villain of the documentary. He gave these people 12, like 9 hours. And then after it was over, he started calling his attorney, and he's just like, I think I'm like the huge villain of this documentary. And he literally was just doing it to have a good time because he had, he thought it was cool to talk about the Expos, the team he used to be a part of. And it turns out like the whole thing was designed to talk about like how bad this guy was. All right, it is the Mosley Show. And we will have Campus Confidential coming up not long from now, and we'll get to that. And we want to talk about a lot of these games, and we'll react to things. Scotty's got a lot that he wants to bring up, but Scotty, I'm so like it's fun. I didn't think this would happen. I did not think we would be September 12th and have any baseball to talk about, unless you're like a Astros fan and you always have baseball to talk about. Because I mean, as much as we think, some of us think obviously they did some of it, in a poor fashion, and some people would say they cheated. And I think Major League Baseball caught them in the act, so I don't think it's even just an allegation. They did, but you do have to give them their props that they've had this sustained level of greatness where they're in the postseason every single year, even post scandal, post cheating. But we thought the Rangers were out of this thing, and it turns out they're not. It turns out that the Rangers are right in the thick of things, and this is tonight at 7:10. I'll be at a high school game. Scotty will probably be preparing for our Green and Gold Game Day show. We'll all be doing a lot of things, but I will be also tuned in very closely to what's happening with Rangers Mets. Rangers going to the Mets, and Scotty, it's wild. Like it's Jacob deGrom going home to a place where he won back-to-back Cy Youngs. He's now 37 years old. After having the injury-laden seasons with the Rangers, he's been great this season. They're having to manage him and everything, but he is the probable starter tonight, which means he will start. They have a pretty decent guy making his third career start, young rookie Wong, I think is his last name. It interests me. But the night story is DeGrom going back to the Mets for the first time since after the 2022 season. And what reception he'll get in Queens, even his old teammates like Pete Alonso, the polar bear himself, was saying, that's 48's mound out there. That mound belongs to him out there at Citi Field. And so you get the guy who was, even though his star burned bright only for a short time, it burned really bright. And so someday he'll probably be in the Mets Hall of Fame. And he's coming back as a Ranger. Wow. I mean, we've got major baseball tonight, and the Rangers continue to do it with these young guys. And Hellman's a journeyman who really, I think he's maybe considered a rookie because he's really hadn't played enough with a major league team to warrant being anything other than a rookie. But he's been incredible for the Rangers. Talking about Michael Hellman, Osuna out in right field, Freeman's playing second base. Dusty Harris is on this team. I mean, they just infuse this team with all these young guys, and that has, there's really I'm trying to think of any veterans. I mean, Josh Young, I guess would have to qualify as a veteran. I mean, it's given him a shot in the arm over, his third base position. It's again the pitching staff. The relievers have been really good during this run, and whether it be Hobie Milner, whether it be Armstrong, Phil Maton, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable the run these Rangers are going on right now, and it's just so much fun as we get you ready for this weekend's games. So we got. Even my weekend, I got high school tonight, Flower Mound Lake Highlands. I got Baylor Sanford in the morning, 11 a.m. I'll be at Cowboys Giants on Sunday. And then, of course, Monday Night Football. But so I'll be attending all three of those games and then observing the Rangers and the Mets throughout the weekend. I'm just trying to think of like a Rangers fan who maybe took the stance of, I don't want to pay. I don't want to be on this, whatever the Rangers network now is. I don't want the app. I don't want to pay for the level of DirecTV. And suddenly they find their team in a pennant race. Suddenly they're in a playoff race. I mean, this is the time of year, and the weather starts to change a little bit, although let's not overdo it in Texas. Maybe we're getting a little less humidity, but we're still going to get some heat. But I would like to think that, Scotty, as we take that stage, as we get on that stage at 9 tomorrow morning, as Scotty takes the stage at 8 a.m., as Alfred Anderson, the legend himself, comes rolling by our stage at about 9:20 tomorrow morning, man, I would like to think that it'll be still somewhat cool, and that and we're going to have a nice situation out there. Come see us. Camp Fimfo is the area. We'll have a nice little TV set out there. It's the Brazos parking. And so really, if you park over there, you'll find us pretty easily. You just look for a TV set, and it's pretty much, fairly close to MLK. So from the stadium side, just cross MLK and find us. If you park at Brazos Parking, just wander over there. We're kind of close to the Sikkim 365 tent. Our old friend Hobby Howell over there, he has a big tent right down from us. And so find us, and we're gonna have a great time, and we would love to see you out there. And no one works harder on that pregame show, the Green and Gold Game Day show, than Scotty Swingler. So come by, say hi to Scotty. He may have his cap turned around backwards. He may not be wearing a cap. I don't know what he'll do, but we're going to have a great time there on set as we get you ready for Baylor and Samford. All right, Scotty, let's do some Campus Confidential. Let's do it next.
Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com. Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
Have you ever watched true crime television and wondered, how did they get that story?
I can show you. I was a producer for 48 Hours on CBS News.
In my exclusive tell-all book, I'll take you where no audience has ever gone before. Don't miss out. Secure your copy of Killer Story: The Truth Behind True Crime Television today. Available everywhere books are sold.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
We have been looking for you. Wake up.
Hellhound Country, available anywhere you get your podcasts. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
It is the Matt Mosley Show, and with a tad bit different look today. We had some last minute things we had to do technically, but we made it work, and we are pleased to be with you. David Ubben, the one of the lead writers for The Athletic, covers college football and does a really nice job over the years. In fact, we were both former bloggers at ESPN.com back in the day, and then used to do TV together. So we'll be pleased to have David on coming up right around 2:00. But this is the time of day we do some Campus Confidential. And and that Scotty, of course, comes on and bounces some things against me, and we react. Also, want to say, look at him; he's playing his drums, playing his air drums. There, we also Central National Bank. Thank you, CNB. Thank you for being so huge and such a huge part of what we do. As the as the CNB pops up right over Scotty's head. Scotty, duck just a little bit. I mean, people want to see you, but no, always great. And Scotty's got his.
Yeah,
let's see.
there we go.
See what he's going with today. The National Championship T-shirt from 2021.
Never gets old.
Scotty, where were you watching that night?
I was at my home. I was at my home with my wife in Sugarland. And I was running sprints around the house about halfway through the first half because I have not quite seen a national championship game be over so quickly.
I was there, and it was a COVID national championship, so not a packed house because of that. And I was a couple of times I was sitting with the Anderson family, the great Dr. John Anderson, and I was told to put that mask back on a few times because I was so excited I would take the mask off and scream and whatever. I did not try to sit like courtside as a media member. I went to that one as a fan and experienced it that way.
Glad you did. Glad
it
you
was
did.
Incredible. But hey, no matter where you were, Baylor fans, we were all together that night. That was one of the great nights, probably the greatest night in Baylor sports history. I have a hard time thinking anything would top that.
Maybe so.
Okay, what do we have in Campus Confidential, Scotty?
Let's have some fun, Matt Mosley. I had fun with this. Kelsey Thompson, mysanantonio.com. By the way, I don't know how your newsfeed works, but for whatever reason, I feel like I get my SA, my San Antonio stories that pop up in my feed on Google News constantly. But they featured this story. I'm going to show you a photo here, Matt. Here he is, featured in mysanantonio.com. The superfan, Mo Taylor, who brings his Longhorn, Ben, to Texas Longhorn tailgates. I think this is amazing, and this is what college football is all about. And Kelsey Thompson wrote an excellent article for mysanantonio.com about Mo and Ben going to the Texas Longhorn tailgates.
Okay, are folks seeing this right now? Because
yes.
Okay, well, my sad little situation that I'm having to use today. It's not, that means, will I even see our guest at 2:00? The bottom line is everybody else will see. That's the key. The rest of our audience, but yes. Okay, so that's interesting. Why now they have a Longhorn Bevo that's at all the games. Are you telling me that someone in addition to that brings their own Longhorn and kind of hangs out at the tailgate with another Longhorn? And do we have a name for this Longhorn? This is kind of an unofficial mascot.
Yeah. The Longhorn is named Ben, and since you can't see the photo, I'll tell you, Ben is saddled, bridled, and mounted by Mo, who is wearing a Viking horn hat and holding a Texas Longhorn flag as he is riding Ben at this tailgate.
Yeah, it's just interesting because, is there a barn or is there a place? Is there a hitching post to leave Ben if he wants to go to the game? If the guy wants to go to the game, or do you think he puts him back in the trailer? And then, or do you think probably he doesn't have tickets to the game? He just participates. And let me ask you this. Do you think this is a money-making endeavor? If people want to climb up on Ben or take photos, do you think they charge him any money for that? Or do you think the guy, I bet he's just doing it art, just being weird and being fun.
I think he's just being weird and being fun as well, Matt. But I think it's a lot of fun. Bobby B says, greetings, gentlemen. What's up, Bobby? Welcome back to the Matt Mosley Show. Glad you're here. All right, Matt.
He just said greetings.
Yep, he said greetings, so
Is
I
that
said
all
hello
he
back.
said? Good.
That is all he
Good.
said, Matt.
Good.
This is YouTube now. We interact with folks as they join us.
I'm fine with that. I want Bobby to say a few more things while he's here.
I'm sure he'll maybe he said thank you, so you're welcome.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sure maybe he'll have a question for David Ubben. All right, here's the next story. No photo to go with this one. We'll just get your reaction. Story came out about an hour ago. I'm reading it off CBS Sports. Ireland's planning to continue hosting college football games through 2037, given the current proposal. Organizers of the event say it's been a tremendous success for Dublin. They say the biggest brands in college football want to be part of the Week 0 game in Dublin. Of course, the writer of this article points out, let's see who that is, Cody Nagel points out that Kansas State is just the most recent in a trend of teams that go to Ireland and lose tend to actually have a horrid season following. Keep in mind what happened to Florida State last year. And, you know, it would be easy to say, well, Florida State is just awful, except that they've now started this season quite hot. So Mosley, Ireland trying to keep this American football, college football tradition going for at least 12 more years in Dublin.
Man, you know, college football scheduling. Is there anything that goes that far out in life? Like, you know, most of us are just trying to get through the day, maybe try to plan something out for next month. Maybe if you want to go to a concert badly enough, you go 2 months. Ireland trying to get this game until 2037. I mean, Scotty, think about that. You will almost be, golly, you'll be way into your 40s by then. And I don't want to even think of where this puts me. It's just, it's too far. People don't want to live life like this. People do not want to think about 2037. I mean, we want our future generation, our kids to do extremely well, but this is a weird thing that college football does. They plan out things too far. This is a weird, I mean, like, I don't believe this, whatever you said about like these teams love doing it or it's been a huge success. That's great. But I do not believe there are teams lining up to go do this.
I also do not believe that. I also do not believe that.
Okay. I think we agree there. And I think one thing Dave Aranda had put in that beautiful, you know how the president's always saying it was a beautiful phone call. It was a beautiful document or whatever. I think that Aranda, it's a beautiful contract. And I think that he had it added, we are not going to Dublin. I think the Bears, even though the Bears, some of the green that we have would go well with Ireland and the luck of the Irish and all that kind of thing. Like, here's what really should happen. Well, why in the world wouldn't Notre Dame just play that game every year? I mean, that's the team. That's the team that makes the most sense. So I would just make them, you know, an every deal. But yeah, nobody's fighting over the opportunity to go over there to Dublin and play that game. What else do you have for us, sir?
All right. You asked about
Campus Confidential.
Campus Confidential. You asked about lines today, Mosley. So I went and looked at the most bet on college football games this weekend. Can you guess what the number one college football game that is being bet on this weekend is currently?
Well, usually I would say anything involving University of Texas or Ohio State. I don't think either one of those teams are playing big games. Texas has
UTEP. Yeah.
I would say either Georgia, Florida, or A&M, Notre Dame.
You have guessed numbers 2 and 3. Number one, Miami, South Florida. Miami is a 17.5 point favorite. This is a South Florida team that has beat 2 ranked teams, and they are 17.5-point dogs. 72% of the money coming in on this game is coming in on South Florida, although sharp money is going on Miami, just because Miami might be one of the 5 best teams in the country. As you said, Georgia at Tennessee. Georgia 3.5-point favorites there. Texas A&M 7-point dog against Notre Dame. Surprised me a little bit, the line there. 55% of that action is on A&M. LSU are 10.5-point favorites over Florida, who's, of course, coming off that loss. This is my game of the week, Matt. The next most bet game, Clemson, 6.5-point favorites at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, sneaky good team. Clemson has not looked very good. That is going to be a fun game to watch in the ACC. As for the Big 12, Pittsburgh, West Virginia. Pittsburgh favored by 7.5. Kansas State only favored by 1.5 over Arizona. And Houston, 4.5-point favorites at home with Colorado coming to town.
Wait, Houston is favored over, wow, isn't that amazing? Over Deion's Buffs.
Yep.
And are either one of those the first and second string quarterback at the start of the season for the Buffs hurt or something? Isn't that amazing? That
it is an amazing story. Yeah, they're not hurt. It was just a decision.
Quarterback.
Yep, to go to the other guy. And I believe he was on the roster last year. So I wonder if that's not got something to do with it, if he's earned some trust. And I don't know if those other 2 guys have done anything necessarily to lose trust. I think I said this on your show a few days ago. Maybe I said it on another show. I wonder if, Deion wasn't, we presume, fully active at spring ball with all the medical stuff going on.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And I wonder if it's not that he just came in at the end of the summer, ready to go, full steam ahead, 100%. He's back in the action now that, he's cancer-free and all this. And I wonder if he didn't just get to practice and go, guys, I don't care about star rankings. Like, this is the best quarterback we have. And I wonder if Deion just doesn't think differently than some of the rest of his coaching staff, and he's going with the guy he likes.
Boy, that is really that's very interesting. That to think that it could have something to do with Deion's long absence in spring, and then of course lasting a little bit into even fall camp. That although we saw Deion, didn't we, at media day, but so it wouldn't have lasted into fall camp. But I think that's an interesting theory. It's one we might bounce off our next guest, David Ubben, who major college football writer and does it for The Athletic and does such a nice job of it. Long time, my old TV pal from our days at Fox Sports Southwest. David Ubben joins the Mosley Show from The Athletic next.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. Unlock your full potential with On It, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, On It has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss.
It is the Mosley Show, and David Ubben from The Athletic joining us now from his studio. And David, you and I used to do TV together, and this is the way of the world, isn't it? We used to have to drive to a TV studio and do all that. Now we have YouTube shows. You have a podcast. And isn't it interesting, David, how like almost overnight with like podcasting, one of the things I kind of liked about podcasting was that like I could look however I wanted. I could have the ball cap. I could do anything. And then overnight,
the days are gone.
It was just like, if you're not on YouTube or if you're not on video, it's not even a podcast anymore. I mean, that happened quick. And boy, you and, Mr. Vanini and some of your other guys jump on there from The Athletic. You'll have a really good podcast, and we're all doing it, and we've all been doing it. But great to have you, David. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Matt. Good to see you. And yeah, I guess my makeup girl is out today, right? So you're gonna have to go all natural.
Now you look good. I turned the ring light on back there. There's a little shine, adds a little shine. Now, when I go on with old Deucey, some of our old Fox pals that you and I have, I do, if my wife is around, I will ask for like a little blush or a little something, something on the cheeks. As you get towards your 50s, David, not that you're knocking on the door, but I certainly am right there. You start to need a little touch up every once in a while. But man, and by the way, isn't this a fun weekend for college football? It's like there are probably weekends that have bigger matchups. Sometimes on a weekend like this, like the Tennessee Georgia game and the A&M Notre Dame game, they'll just kind of jump out above everything else. But there's some other really cool games happening. And then this is always a weird time, David, when you're not quite ready to launch into the conference race, but then some of the conferences start playing their games. Other teams from conferences are still playing these random games. Baylor will get it on with Samford. You know me, I'll be there on TV early tomorrow morning, trying to make it like, that's an interesting game. And in some respects, Baylor needs to go out and continue to play well at least, but they've got to fix some things on defense. I'll start right there, David, because I got a large Baylor audience. As you and your colleagues start to look at the Heisman race, like those of us from Baylor have known about Sawyer from day one, his incredible breakout season last year. Like, when does it become, though, because you're someone who understands the local angle of this and you understand the national angle. Like, what does Sawyer have to do for this to become like a legit Heisman candidacy? Is because as much as those of us who are really close to that story would want to think, well, he's in there. It's already happened. We know that there's going to have to be more that happens for him to grab the national attention that he needs. What needs to happen, and what do you see happening as we speak?
I mean, I think just the production is Heisman caliber, obviously, but there's a name recognition part of it, and you got to keep racking up wins. He's already wearing a loss. So at that point, if it's only week 3 and you're already wearing a loss, especially one where a lot of people watched it, for better or worse, like your Heisman hopes are going to be impacted by that. So just keep winning. I mean, if they can get to 9-10 wins and they're in the top 20 and they're in, Arlington playing for a Big 12 title, he's going to be in the conversation if the production continues where it is. But I mean, in terms of production, he's been as good as anyone, especially when you look at the quality of the schedule, obviously, that Baylor has played to this point.
All right. And you obviously remember RG3's run. And in fact, you and I may have both been blogging at the time, me with ESPN.com, you also with ESPN.com. In fact, my producer, Scotty Swingler, David, you'll be happy to know, like when I told him you were coming on today, he started talking about your old ESPN blog and how much he loved that. He was like, that was the blog back in the day. And there he
Scotty,
is. Scott,
what's
Scotty,
up?
Scotty Swingler. Now you got to watch it, though. He'll try to get you to come on. Please bear with me. His podcast.
That feels like another life, Matt. I'm sure you feel the same way. Blogging about the Cowboys, the NFC East. That feels really like another life.
Yeah, it feels like a good life financially, but one that was not sustainable. Like where I was on radio in a large market every day and doing that job. And I was doing 3 hours of radio, David, and I was writing somewhere in the neighborhood of, think about when we were writing like an incredible amount per day. I bet it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 5,000 words per day at times. Like, I think we were writing.
Some days. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. And I for me, that was not sustainable. Like I was going to burn out and I pretty much about did.
Well, Matt, you should have been 23 with no kids and single. That simplifies things a lot.
Although you took care of that. I remember when you got married and started your family not long after. So you have moved into that world. Okay, David, now games this weekend. And before we get to that, I love your story on, and it was exhausting to me. Like these things are always better in my mind in theory. When I've had to do things similar to this, I always regret it. But knowing you and knowing you're kind of a college football sicko, you probably there were parts of it that were exhausting, parts of it you probably loved, but you did like 6 college football games in 5 days, and there was a lot of driving. I'm sure there were some flights involved.
No flights.
Oh wow. Okay, so you're able to drive to all these things. Like from a logistical standpoint, when did you start working on this? And what would you say was the most difficult stretch? Like what was it at the very end of it when you're like maybe the fatigue is starting to kick in? What was the most difficult leg? And how did you kind of come up with this idea to try to pull this off?
So I think like March, April, I was just kind of looking at the week 1 schedule, and it sort of came to me. I compare it to like the Zach Galifianakis gif. If I could just see, I could get to a lot of games. Our editors were really on board with it. I thought it was going to be fun. The kicker here, Mosley, what if I told you that we closed on a house on Tuesday, moved in that evening and the next day, and then I left for this trip on Thursday? That didn't help. So we just moved to Charlotte, obviously, and we the hardest leg by far was the Friday night game, and then having to drive literally 4 hours to Atlanta, and then have a noon game the next day. It doesn't get much harder than that. So I'm on like 4 hours sleep. We kind of finished that, and then doing that game, going up to Clemson. And then I got to my car at Clemson because I wrote a column after the Clemson game, stayed for Dabo's press conference. He's notoriously late. I left campus at about 2:00 and then got in at 4. I was able to get some sleep, but that like 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. day, that is like, I can't do that anymore. I'm not 22 anymore. So as much as I enjoyed it, it really was kind of a never again type situation.
Okay, so you've sworn that off. I was just thinking back, by the way, while you were talking there, about like our old studio days, and I brought this up the other day. Like I had, we were on Big 12 Now on Fox Sports Southwest, and sometimes I would go out in the field. Sometimes you would be out in the field reporting, and you have these cringy moments in life where you think back, like to maybe you did something on screen or you said something that maybe was a little over the top. I was still at that, and again, I still love Baylor and still want them to win, but I got so to think I was on that show back then, and like I don't think people now that weren't living it could understand like the hatred that had come up between Baylor and TCU at the time. And I do find it funny, David, that I can have like somehow Gary Patterson and I have become pretty good friends, and he was on with me for like an hour the other day. And I guess it speaks to how people can kind of move on from things. But I do remember going on one particular show after a Baylor TCU game and just going after Patterson, and like to a point where it was a little too Mosley Baylor stuff. Sometimes I would lean into that. And I look back and I'm like, I don't know if that was the most professional thing in the world, but it is. I mean, in a time, David, when the regionality, we're losing some of these rivalries and all. I think last week we had some good rivalry games. The SMU Baylor thing has been kind of fun to get going again. It is still fun, isn't it, that still does exist in college football. And I think more than ever, we got to try to cling to that and hold on to some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think so college football is the second most popular sport in the country. It's an extremely valuable television property. I would argue still an undervalued television property relative to kind of what the NFL makes, what the NBA makes, and how the ratings kind of fit into that. But the thing that made it that was regionality. The sport grew because college football is life. College football is politics. College football is sociology. College football is intertwined with the history of America in a way that the NFL is not, that the NBA is not, that baseball is not. It's coast to coast. And like I said, that regionality grew it into what it is. The Big 8, the Pac-10, the Southwest Conference, the Big East. And so when you've got this bi-coastal Big 10, this absurd Atlantic Coast Conference with multiple teams located on the Pacific Coast, college football, when they kick it off on Saturday, between the lines, in the places that care about college football, is still pretty special. But it's definitely lost some of the identity and some of the things that made it special. I think those Saturdays are still so important to the communities that care about it and are still so unique that still carries the day. But, as I wrote in that piece, from my driving to 6 games in 5 days, there's a lot of things and a lot of reason, if you don't like college football, to not like college football. And yet, we're about to experience one of 15 of them or however many we get, those fall Saturdays are still pretty special.
They are. And David Ubben on the Matt Mosley show. David from The Athletic. That was a really good story you had on the former Tennessee quarterback who's now at UCLA. And I
Mosley, can we get an attempt at his last name from you? I want to hear this.
Yeah, and earlier today I was.
You don't have the
working on
reps
it.
in. You don't have the reps in.
No, I know, but I kind of had it earlier today. Iamale Ava.
That I've heard much worse. Iamale Ava. That's close.
Iamale Ava. Okay. I really had worked, and Scotty can attest to this. I was like, in knowing I would bring this up with you, but then I haven't said it in a while. And I've seen some of those videos they were doing with Tennessee fans, trying to say their own quarterback's name. But it's like anything. If you cover him and you write about him a lot, probably like you have, then it becomes like second nature. It's not a big deal.
Does.
But with Baylor basketball players, they bring in a lot of players from African nations. And at first you're like, oh my gosh. And then it's like, it becomes second nature. And then you get really mad at people who can't do it. But this is a cautionary tale, because now it's more the ones that are truly the ones that are bad, or that go into portal and they never come out of the portal, right? The people that are like, I want to leave here, and they never find another place to play. I mean, that happens. Not everybody goes in the portal and finds a destination. So there are more sob stories out there than a guy who had to go from making whatever $2.5 million or to $3 million a year, whatever it was, to what, $1.25 million. But to your point, this was rough, because you go from being liked by your fan base, being liked by your teammates, feeling good about things, having some family around there, to a place you don't know. I mean, think about that. It was, as you pointed out in that story, quarterback friendly, quarterback as a head coach, former quarterback great in Heupel. You have everything going for you, and you decide, my contracts, I mean, you basically pull a NFL, like whatever Micah Parsons. It's like, I think I could get more, and I want to redo my deal. And even though my deal was huge, I mean, his deal was the most celebrated or infamous, whatever you want to say, deal when he came out of high school. Think about that, David. When they mentioned that a kid was going to make $8 million over 4 years or whatever it was, or over the first however many years of that contract, we thought, oh my gosh, our world is falling apart. Now, Texas Tech signing up linemen for whatever, right? For offensive linemen, high school offensive linemen. But that was a big deal. But this guy now has gone to a place, and David, I would say the coach could get fired after the end of this year. They may win 4 games. They're getting crushed. And I'm talking about UCLA. And the guy at UCLA has gone to a great spot. If they beat Georgia, he'll be on top of the world. And he'll be beloved. And those Aguilar, I'm probably saying that wrong too, but those jerseys are going to be, flying off the shelves. This, in effect, David, was like the first major just trade that happened. And it appears to the guy coming from UCLA, it's worked out way better for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a story about knowing your value and knowing your worth. So with Nico, when he signed that deal in high school, we're fairly confident he would have been the highest paid quarterback in college football. $2 million a year. This was in 2022. I forget, but he's getting paid for his last year of high school as well. That's the first year that he's getting that money. So that's a factor. But by the time that we're, going into this offseason, he was probably borderline top 10. And so I think if you're ranking the quarterbacks in the country, borderline top 10 is probably generous for where Nico was coming off of there. Certainly the talent was there. But, they see Carson Beck getting paid. They see Darian Mensah getting paid. And they're saying, we want that kind of money. Well, Tennessee wasn't going to pay it. I think they believed that that others were going to. And the thing is, if Nico had thrown for 3,000 yards last year and 30 touchdowns and was coming back and was the chief reason why they made it to the playoff, Tennessee would have paid it. It wasn't like a we don't negotiate deals thing. It's just like, we don't think you're worth that. And you do. And Nico didn't have a real agent. You know, his family was handling a lot of these negotiations. And this is where agents can really help you. But if you don't have one, it's hard for the agent to help you. And I think I can't speak for you, Mosley. I've never had a son that was a 5-star quarterback. So I don't know how hard it is to not see that situation through rose-colored glasses. But they clearly overplayed their hand. Like, that seems obvious to me. So, you know, it is what it is. And now they're sort of reaping what they sowed at this point, where you think you're one thing and you're just not.
Yeah, they should have tried to get one of those deals with aspiration. They should have tried to see if.
That's about college football is that story, though. Really, that's crazy.
I saw it. That was my first thought, and you put it out there. But my first thought was like a no-show job. This is so old school SEC. And then I guess OU was in the Big 12 when Rhett Bomar had a no-show job.
It is very Rhett Bomar. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. Although, in college, I guess we do have some way now of trying to. There's some mechanism for monitoring where any of these things are no-show or some of these endorsement deals. And you're right. I think Nico had the wrong Uncle Dennis. The Uncle Dennis in Kawhi's situation. And then there was another Dennis that got involved, right? Isn't there like a Dennis that was like the co-owner or like a minority stake owner of the Clippers? Have you seen that? Now
I haven't followed the story super closely. All I know is that it feels like the entire NBA is trying to say, like, you know, it's really just trying to say like the story is not what it very clearly seems to be. So hey, yeah,
I'll do a Pablo Torre pod with you if you'll do all the investigating.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll get on that.
You'll go through all that. Okay, one last game I wanted to ask you about. This A&M, to me, because of where you and I and you used to live around here, it's A&M going to Notre Dame. That's a fun, just on the surface, you've got huge tradition there. A&M, huge traditions. They both value their past and traditions almost unlike any other school in college football. But I got to put my eyes on that A&M team against UTSA, and I got to say, David, they've brought in like more speed than I've seen from them in a lot of years. I don't want to go all the way back to Jackie Sherrill, but
Craver, Bussy, Concepcion, those guys can fly.
Whoa. And they got some tight ends and Le'Veon at running back. I mean, they got some hosses that Cassius Howell. They always have the next first-round pick lining up on their defensive line. Some would say they're trending toward like defensive line U. How do you handicap this one with Notre Dame? After that loss, they don't have much room to play with here. They're not like some of these conference teams that just because they've got the weirdness of the independent/ACC schedule. So I don't know that they can bounce back as easy as maybe some SEC teams can. Do you give the Ags a puncher's chance here? And what are we looking at Saturday night?
Yeah, they'll have a shot. I mean, I think this is going to be a really physical game. I mean, if you like hitting, I think this is going to be a really low-scoring game, and there's going to be some hitting out there. I liked A&M to kind of push to at least compete in the SEC this year because of that. They're so good on the lines. They need Marcel Reed to grow up. You've kind of read and heard a lot about his development in the offseason. You got to see it. It's got to become production. It hasn't been yet. There's the whole, 8-4 A&M thing that's looming out there. And I think the biggest question for me is you've still got a really young head coach. Like Mike Elko hadn't done this. He's going up against a lot more experienced guys. They got a good roster. They don't have the best roster, but they got the pieces to compete. Like if you looked up at the end of the year and A&M's in Atlanta, nobody's going to be saying how they do that. And that's an advantage that they have. So they got a shot to win this game. I'm not as big of a believer in Notre Dame as other people. I think A&M is going to offer a much tougher test defensively than Miami did. Reuben Bain kind of took that game over. CJ Carr made some pretty good plays in there. I think he can be a really good player. But A&M's got better athletes. Torrey York running around there. You mentioned Cassius Howell. I like A&M to cover there. I don't know about winning all the way, but they definitely have got a shot. And if they can get, a B+, A- game out of Marcel Reed, I think they win it.
All right. And I know why you say such kind things about the Mizzou Tigers. Eli Drinkwitz. I spy that football back there. Looks like the Mizzou team appreciated some of your coverage over the years.
No, that's a FWAA award acknowledging my alma mater there. So my name's on that one, but it's from the FWAA. So we're good.
I saw that. I saw that Mizzou thing. Yeah, on there. Yeah, I was like, wait, how did he have a football back there from Mizzou? Okay, FWAA. Oh, some of your awards back there. I'd like to get a Baylor. I'd like to get something from Baylor back there. I'll send you just a bobblehead or something. Let's see what you.
I like it. I got
there.
I got my turnover chain over here, so that's my personal favorite. That one's chilling. So
Buc-ee's, you have Buc-ee's, and now, by the way, next time you go to College Station, they will soon have 3 Buc-ee's on campus. 3 different Buc-ee's.
Yeah, but they're not
going
to be like the real Buc-ee's. These will be imposter Buc-ee's. The draw of the Buc-ee's is the size, right? And if we're just on campus, I mean, come on now.
All right, I'm going to let you knock Buc-ee's. The next thing we'll get into
Buc-ee's, but you can't throw a bag of beaver nuggets and some chips and some nuts and like a half a brisket and call it a Buc-ee's. You need the whole thing. We got to have the gift shop. We got to have the fudge, the jerky. We got to have all the custom snacks, all that.
Are you saying when they started getting those little Chili's too, or whatever they were on campus, you didn't honor that as a real Chili's?
No, that's a Chili's offset. I don't respect it.
Do you like the Chili's skillet queso? Are you a fan of that? Have you ever tried that?
So let me just put it to you this way. I think it was one of my uncles had a rule that he never ate something that looked the same going out as it did coming in. And so on the basis of that rule, the skillet queso at Chili's is eliminated from my diet.
Oh my God. That's a good place to end. What was that uncle's name? Give me that uncle's name there.
I think it was Richard, I believe. So
Uncle Richard came up with that. The Ubben family. So. The wit and witticisms of the Ubben family. Now we know. Now we know where he gets it. David, thank you, man. We enjoy all your stuff and all your work at The Athletic, and we'll be looking to see what you focus on, what comes out of this weekend. But appreciate the time. Great having you on the Matt Mosley Show, the YouTube version. All right. I can't believe if there was a Fox Sports Southwest, I think they would probably grab the two of us and give us a show again,
Probably. Shout out to that's like talk about other lives. Fox Sports Southwest has been through as many lives as we have, man. So
who did we have? We had Gary Reasons, we had Pat, the old coach at Oklahoma State. We had
Tony
Rick
Banks.
Renner, we had Tony Banks, we had Rick Renner. Gary Kubik was that really cool producer that I liked. He was a good dude. Mm-hmm. Matt Scales, who's a Baylor guy, would produce. Like I liked everybody there. Like if they're having
my guy Keith Fletcher, shout out to Keith.
Love Keith Fletcher. Yeah, boy, I'm glad you said that. He would have been mad. Keith had that beard. Keith still looks exactly the same, but Keith that was Keith's baby too. Keith was way into that show. And then who was that editor we had when we would write for them? Ben Rebstock. Remember that?
Yep, Ben Rebstock. Shout out to Ben. I think he's still doing it basically for whatever Fox is now. I think he's still doing it. So
well, but he's got that DLLS thing now, which I had they were throwing money at people and they in true Mosley fashion, David, they tried to get me involved, and I said, no, I don't. This sounds weird. And then I found out what everybody was making, and I was like, wait, I thought this sounds pretty good to me.
We don't all have Chill's talents. What can I say, man?
I mean, yeah, that's true. All right, David. Hey, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
You bet. There he goes, David Ubben from The Athletic, and He is one of those guys that, man, we've known each other for years, and I watched him grow up as a writer, and ESPN screwed a lot of things up, and he was one of them. But David then, I mean, just hit the ground running with The Athletic, and he's become what really probably their top college writer. And so they recognized all the talent he had. And he's just been a good friend over the years, and good family man. And he keeps relocating. I think DFW, I think there was a Nashville stop and then maybe a Charlotte stop, it appears now. So I don't know why he's going to all these places, but I wish he'd just come back to the Metroplex. We're right in the center of the country, and it's a good place to be, or he could live in Waco, wherever. But great to have David Ubben with us. Scotty Swingler, I mean, it's been a fun day. It's been a fast-paced day. We had to show great adaptability. We may have to do that tomorrow as well, but we're excited about our game day live coverage. Faith will join us at the desk. Alfred Anderson, the Baylor legend, will be stopping by. Samford is coming to town, those Samford Bulldogs. Scotty, do you have any thoughts on this game, this Samford game? Is this a runaway? Is this a runaway Bears go? I'm going to say, and Scotty will want Dave to go in there and give them a speech if they're not getting it done at halftime. But I'm going to say Bears 45, Samford 7. All right? I don't think
Matt, I'm going to tell you something.
Sawyer plays into the second half.
I'm going to tell
no.
If we
respect Samford.
If we only score 45, I'll be disappointed. We put that we hung that many on SMU. Give me Baylor 63, Samford 3. Anything less, unacceptable.
Now we needed overtime for 14 of those, sir. All right, so we only really scored
a playoff team versus Samford. Okay, maybe I'm being disrespectful. 63. Sawyer needs to put up 45 in the first half. Let's go.
All right, let me ask you this last thing. Who was your favorite wide? All those guys we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about who was the best. Who was your favorite Bryles era wide receiver?
Oh, I like so many of them. Dude, as cliche as it is, because he might be the best, although I think most would say Corey Coleman is the best. My favorite is Kendall Wright. I think he's my favorite in part because he was same class as Robert Griffin, played as a true freshman with Robert Griffin, played very well, by the way, from his true freshman season on. He is Baylor's career receiving leader. But Kendall Wright, man, how did I describe it to someone the other day? He is the only true freshman in a Division I college football game that I've seen reverse the field behind the line of scrimmage multiple times, and it worked out well for him as a true freshman. He made so many catches, Matt. He was only, 5'10", like $180, $190 maybe. That dude made so many catches that
big catches,
great receivers don't make. I mean, he was
tough.
So
receiver.
It was the combo of catch anything thrown his way, but man, as good as Corey was with the ball in his hands, as good as Josh Cameron is with the ball in his hands. If I could have the ball in anyone's hands for run after the catch, it still might be Kendall Wright. That dude was incredible. I think people sleep on how good he really was.
In one of those huge moments, didn't they do a deal where they threw the ball back to Robert? You remember one of those
He
games?
threw it. Well, because he
Kendall
was a quarterback. He was a quarterback at Pittsburgh High. That's Kendall Wright was an athlete recruited out of Pittsburgh High. He was a quarterback. So yes, he threw 2 or 3 passes a season for Bryles. That one was the most famous. Because it was part of that Heisman year, first game against TCU. But Kendall would throw 2 or 3 passes a season. That was pretty common.
One of my favorite post-game things was Kendall had a big game, and he was the hero of that game. And we were driving home after the game, and John Morris, the great J-Mo, has a tendency after games, even with Dave Aranda, and Dave Aranda's so gracious, he's going to roll with it, right? But John doesn't really like to ask a question. He likes to say things like, pretty rough, pretty tough game out there, coach, or pretty,
Right.
like kind of,
Right.
And most people will just roll with that. And Kendall was not wired to roll, and he wasn't even being a jerk. But John kept saying, Kendall, pretty good day out there for you. 10 catches, 134 yards. I mean, it was a really nice day for the Bears. Kendall would go, yes, sir. I mean, totally being respectful, but not willing to help John. And then John would follow it up with, well, Kendall, another great day for the Bears. And the Bears have a big one coming up next week against SMU. Isn't that right? Or something. And Kendall would go, yes, sir. That is right. He would not.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I'll tell you who asked a pretty good question is, it's not easy to do when you've been on that side. Like Nick has done a lot of media, like he had to answer questions, but he's not someone who asks a lot of questions. Nick is pretty natural at questioning the coach after a game. Like it came pretty natural to him. And that's not, for somebody that hasn't done radio and done media, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world to do. And
he's used to going around and asking people for money. So asking a coach about the play he drew up on third down is easy compared to that. I mean, come on.
He's gotten $15 million gifts and $30 million gifts. Boy, you talk about a humbling thing, Scotty, is when a buddy you've been hanging out with, just imagine this will happen to you pretty soon, in fact, but one of your buddies will without you even really knowing it, will amass a huge fortune. And it happened with one of my buddies, and we would go to games together and all. And there was an email put out one day, and it just said, Jeremy Fudge has given $15 million to Baylor for the football development center. And I'm just like, wait a second, he's an attorney. I mean, I got a lot of attorney buddies. Where's all this money come from? But anyway, it's what you do though. The best way to do, Scotty, is just be happy for them and not be, because
That's right.
You know what? There are people that are buddies of yours, Scotty, that are already out there making huge money. And there are probably days you're like, no, why didn't I do that? But think about how much fun you'll have tomorrow at the game day. Think about how much fun you have every day with Pete and me, and know you've chosen the right path. Thank you, Central National Bank, for what you do. It is time, the landing. We say goodbye. We're going to go because we got a lot to get ready for, and we want to get this David Ubben thing was real exciting. That was a great interview, and we'll get some cuts out for that. And so we're going to spread that around. And then we're going to get ready and get our minds pointed toward tomorrow's big outing, the Green and Gold Game Day. But it is the landing, the Brazos Landing. Thank you, Lindsay family. Thank you for what you do. And as we say goodbye today, just a couple of things. Rangers Mets tonight, 7:10. Huge. Jacob deGrom returns to the scene of where he had 2 Cy Youngs. Rangers need wins. They need the Mariners to lose to the Angels. They need the Astros to lose. And then they got a series coming up with the Astros after this Mets series. There's 15 games left, and everything matters like crazy down the stretch. So let's keep our eye on that. I do think we have a game involving the Big 12 tonight, perhaps. So we'll keep our eye on that. But the full slate of games tomorrow. We'll do the game day. And then the Cowboys, I will be at AT&T Stadium for Cowboys versus Giants. And a reminder, Deron Bland and then somebody else ended up on the injured list that missed a practice the other day. That was a little bit scary for the Cowboys. But anyway, lots to talk about. We'll come back Monday and we'll have an enormous show. In fact, we'll be begging for an additional hour. In fact, we may take you 1 to 4. But for Scotty Swingler, it is Matt Mosley. We want you to have a tremendous football weekend, high school, college, pro. You've been watching the Matt Mosley Show on the Rogue Media Network. We'll talk to you soon.
Football's back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. And playing on Underdog, it's easy. Actually, too easy. I do it all the time. Okay. All you got to do, find your favorite players and you pick if they're going to go higher or lower on specific stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, whatever you want. And you can play for as little as $1. Let me show you what I'm looking at on my picks for this NFL weekend. First of all, CeeDee Lamb, bounce back week for him after 3 drops against the Philadelphia Eagles. He will have more than half a receiving plus rushing touchdown. And then listen, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, both will also score, but with their legs on the ground. I've got each of them with over half a rushing or receiving touchdown as well. Those are my picks. And I did the flex option. So if 2 of those 3 happen, I don't lose money. And if all 3 happen, I make money. That's the kind of picks you can make on Underdog. So here's what I want you to do. Download the Underdog app right now and sign up with the promo code Mosley. And if you put in $5 with that promo code Mosley, they will give you $50 in bonus funds to play with to your heart's content. Underdog is the best way to engage with football this season. Millions have already won billions of dollars playing on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.